Welcome to Thoughts on Prepping. This is a video that was my very first thoughts about prepping. So I'll get right to it. This is for the ladies. And again, my very first thought, what if I have my period? So here are some things to think about. Number one, first and foremost, cramps. If you have to leave quickly, walk quickly, and you have cramps, it's dreadful. And when I was younger, I couldn't even walk. I had to just lay there with a heating pad. It was crazy. So make sure that if there's medications that work for you, make sure you have them. Some medications, sometimes you have nothing works. If you're home, you don't have electricity, but you need a heating pad. There are different things you can use in place of a heating pad. The one that I found good, but you really have to be careful, is heating up salt. I use a cast iron frying pan, and this is, you would be heating this up on whatever rocket stove you make for yourself, but the salt holds the heat very, very well, but you have to be careful with it because it gets pretty hot. And and I put it inside a pillowcase, and it worked pretty well. Also, you might not want to pack white clothes just to avoid embarrassment. And then PMS. This is something that is going to be so difficult depending on how you feel. I know for me, if I have PMS, I become furious with inanimate objects that don't cooperate with me. If a grocery bag doesn't stand up the way I want it to, I could practically throw it across the room. The feeling when you get irritable and everyone runs for cover, or you become weepy or overly anxious. There's things affect you more than usual. So obviously these things are unavoidable, but you might want to just think about how you might have some kind of coping mechanism for that. I tend to have amnesia month to month where I'll have my PMS and 4 weeks later, I'm like, why am I so impatient? Why am I so annoyed? Oh yeah. And then you sort of realize I have PMS. There's that weird amnesia that occurs over those 28 days. So just know that that's a possibility. Also, as far as tampons versus pads, use what you want to use. I would probably, you can get tampons that are biodegradable. You can also get pads that are biodegradable. And you can get tampons, obviously, with and without an applicator. For me, I would go with an applicator, even though it takes up a little bit more room. They do make compact ones. But I just think in a situation that you may have to worry about keeping your hands clean, and it's one less thing to worry about if you have an applicator. And then I know there are some reusable cups on the market. I don't think I'm quite ready for that, especially if it's a 72-hour thing. If there's I might just buy one, and if it turns out to be longer, I could use it. I'm still not quite there. And then for pads, if you use them, one thing I realized is some pads don't stick to some types of the performance underwear. That's the fabric that wicks away moisture and is quick drying. It was a rude awakening, but some pads don't stick to that fabric. So that's a warning. Okay, then my second thing that I thought about were clothes. And if you look at this pair of pants on right there, all of these cargo pants for women come in one shape, which is straight, no hips, no nothing. And as you know, women come in all shapes and sizes. It's not like men who always have, pretty much a straight line, not a big hip curvature. So this was something that I also immediately thought of, because I would wear, if I wore these pants, they would be pulling and I would lose my mind. So let's go for sports bras. Now, I think a sports bra is the best thing to wear. When my brother was telling me about his experience in Cabo with the hurricane, he hooked up with a few people, and one of them, this guy's girlfriend, obviously she had only packed for a summer vacation in Cabo, but she was basically in cutoff jeans and a pink tank top, and she was sort of spilling out every day. And she drew a lot of attention to herself. So my advice is to make sure you have a bra that holds everything in, so that you don't have to worry about bouncing, falling out of things. I pack sports bras all the time because they take up much less room than a regular bra. So I even travel with them. But another thing about the sports bras is you need to sleep in them. I slept in one, and when I woke up, I had a lot of irritation. So sleeping in your clothes anyway, just to see how it feels, is a good idea anyway. So I recommend sports bras. You don't need an underwire stabbing you in the heart while you're running through the hills. So, and then again, performance materials. These are things that, not jeans. Jeans would be, they're all cotton. You would get soaking wet. You would be freezing, if in fact that was the weather. But these other materials that you get through REI and other places, they will wick away moisture. They can keep you cool. They can keep you warm. So I would recommend checking out those sorts of types of materials. And then how many pairs of underwear? I saw a video with a gentleman who was showing his 72-hour bug out, and he had just one pair of underwear for the 3 days. And there's no way I can wear underwear for 3 straight days. So I just tend to pack too much underwear in general, and I would do the same thing here. You have to decide. Also, they do make the underwear that's quick drying. That's also the underwear that the pad didn't stick to. So if you are running around longer than 3 days, you could wash that, and it would dry very quickly. Very easy to wash. And then I looked at the pants there. If you can fit into that, if your shape fits into those pants, great. But I thought a lot about what I needed to wear, and this dress right here is also a performance type material. This particular one is from Mountain Hardwear, and I wore it all summer long, and they come in different colors. And for me, that would be the easiest thing to do, because I can wear it with leggings. I can, if it's hot out, it was great in the summer. I can put long sleeves under it. I can put a sweater over it, and it doesn't, it wicks away any moisture. So for me, I just throw in a pair of leggings, throw the dress on, I'm finished. And this is the type of thing that if I was, I would wear that for 3 days. I don't think it would be a big deal. Not to me. Also, they make these things called skirts. It looks right here. It's a skirt with shorts underneath. And that's another option. The only thing about that is that if you wore leggings, it would be a little complicated. You'd have to put the leggings on first and then put the skirts on, but I like skirts a lot. They're much easier to deal with. Okay, and then arm warmers and leggings. The arm warmers is they're like long sleeves without a shirt, and so then if you're, if you have a t-shirt or short sleeves, you can easily pull those onto your arms for some extra warmth. And the leggings, I would also, they make a billion different kinds for all sorts of sports. And again, practice wearing your bug out clothes. See how they fit, walk around in them, sleep in them. If there's anything you don't like, at least you have time to further refine your running for the hills wardrobe. And then I just put in parentheses because everyone knows this: shoes, hat, gloves, and wool socks. Okay, self-defense. The one thing you have to know is that weapons can be taken away from you. That goes for your gun and a knife. When I was taking my class in the NRA, they showed us the gun retention position, which is holding it closer to your body instead of sticking your arms out like they do in the movies. That is something you really have to be aware of. So it's one thing to carry a weapon, but it's another thing not to be experienced with using it and then have a criminal who knows exactly what they're doing take it away from you. The other thing is that pepper spray can backfire on you. There are people who, especially if they're on some wacky drug, but even if they're not, it's been known to send someone into a rage, and then it's even worse. So pepper spray is a deterrent, but for some, just know that there are some crazy people out there that have so much adrenaline running that they get that squirt in their face and they lose their minds. It doesn't knock them down. They don't stop what they're doing. And so you just need to be aware of that. I think that a basic self-defense class is always good. They have ones that are, last for a day where you get some certain principles and things to look out for. If you are going to do a martial art, I would recommend Krav Maga. That's an Israeli fighting martial art. This is the only martial art that is specifically for street fighting. It's the only one that has only practical applications in real life. So I used to study, I took karate and some Korean martial arts, and they were fun. I love them, but they were Olympic sports for the ones. There wasn't really much self-defense. You can, punch a bag and kick and break boards, but and of course you could, obviously apply that, but Krav Maga is the one I really recommend. Also, taking a punch. Now, I am very fortunate. I've never been in a fight. I've never had anything happen, but in class, when I was in karate class, I was sparring with someone who, we were both low belts, but she did an out-of-control kick, and she kicked me in the jaw. And it didn't hurt at all, but I burst into tears. I wasn't even afraid, and I was hugging her, and I'm like, don't worry, it didn't hurt. And but I had to go in the bathroom and compose myself. I just couldn't stop crying. And so that made me realize that if somebody comes up and you're taken by surprise and you get hit, it may not hurt, but you would have an emotional reaction to it, just the shock. It was a very important lesson for me. And so I think doing this, obviously, in a safe way, it's not easy to get, punched just to figure out how you would react. But I think it's important to know that you could just have a completely emotional reaction and fall apart like I did, even though it didn't hurt. And then a quick thing about ponytails. I learned this a while ago, but bad people like to yank women with ponytails. It's an easy thing to grab onto. And so after I heard that, I would always cover up my ponytail or do something. I wear my hair short now, so it doesn't really apply to me anymore. And then having an awareness of your surroundings, this really goes without saying, but you really, really can't just zone out. Again, if you're in a bug out situation, you'll have adrenaline. Your pupils will be dilated. You will be much more aware. But in general, in your life, don't just zone out. Don't wander around with your earbuds in and not even pay attention to what's going on. Also, you have to have an attitude. I lived in New York City when things were, pretty bad, like in the 80s. And the one thing that we always had to do was just walk around like you're the total shit. And you gotta look that way because criminals are lazy. They are going to go for the person who's easier, and that is someone who looks nervous or afraid or is looking down or doesn't look like they're aware of their surroundings. It's all zoned out. So you've got to have an attitude. And then just quickly for a couple of things. If you don't have a gun, knife, whatever, everybody's got a whistle that they carry, but also a bright flashlight is very good. And I learned this on Modern Survivalist, I think. I'll put it in the description. He recommended a bright flashlight, and this would be at least 200 lumens. It can be quite blinding and very startling. And that could buy you the seconds you need to get away. And then just a couple other things to think about. So your hair. What are you going to do with your hair? Obviously, you're not going to be able to style it or possibly not even be able to wash it. So just think about the frustration that could come from having to deal with your hair. And I declared war on my hair a few years ago, and I just chopped it all off. I went in and said, give me a crew cut, and that was it. Also, if you have long nails, you might want to consider chopping them off. You won't really be able to deal with keeping them looking nice. So that's just another thing I thought about was if you've got long nails, you might as well chop them off because you're going to be needing your fingers to do more stuff. And then also, what if you can't shave? If you're freaked out about not being able to shave your legs, just know that that's a possibility. If water's short, you're not going to be able to shave your legs. I highly recommend laser hair removal because it lasts for 10 years and you don't even have to worry about it. And then breastfeeding. This occurred to me just tonight. I'm not a mother, but pregnant or breastfeeding, you would have to, that's just something to think about. I don't really have any advice at all about it. And so that's it. I just had those quick thoughts about this. It was, like I said, it's the first thing I thought about, and I decided to get this video out there so that I don't have to keep thinking about it. So thank you very much for watching, and remember to do your Kegels.